We're thrilled to bring you the Part 1 story of the first volume of Berserk. It is important to acknowledge that any modifications made to the panel's text and images are done so as to mitigate any potential copyright issues. Each artwork is owned by the organization to which it is attributed. A one-eyed man in black starts walking until he finds A. He makes his way to the castle, passing the townspeople in beggars as he goes. He notices a caged carriage pass by with women and children inside. A group of men start throwing knives at a tied-up man in one of the local taverns. The larger man tells the elf to stop struggling because he's making things difficult for himself. To strike him as the men continue to throw knives at the man in black walks into the tavern, then over to the bar and tells them he's. He pulls a small crossbow from the elf and says, "I'm going to mess up this place a little." If the men's demands are not met, he will chew through his restraints. But the large man says he'll just have to shut up now and try not to say anything else. Struggle no longer exists, but an arrow flies before the man can reach for another knife. The group of men pierced the large man's head and then stuck him to the wall. Men then asked who shot that arrow, and the crossbow started shooting again. However, a lot more arrows begin to hit the men in the eyes this time. The man in black stands out until all but one stance is filled. But he only loads one more arrow and then he fires it, striking the last man through the nose. Man falls to the ground and the man in black approach him and grab him by the throat. The man says yes when the arrow asks if he was one of the robbers at Coca Castle. "I need you to relay a message from a master to the man in black. I'll tell him about the black swordsman Isco." The man in black grabs a hilt of the elf's sword from behind him, and he pulls out a massive great sword behind him, appearing to stab. The men in black cut the man in half with one powerful downward swing. Everyone watches as the severed body flies away, blood spurting everywhere. Shucks as the upper half is thrown into the crowd, and the man puts his foot down. Sword back, the thing is too big to be called a sword, too thick, too heavy to be called a sword. The man in black examines the ruffle, which is more like a large chunk of iron. Robert tells him, "I'm counting on you," and he begins to leave as soon as he can. Outside, the elf flies after him, telling him to wait if he wants to save himself, someone he should have followed up with to make sure he's okay and by. "That is an incredible sword. How much does it weigh, man?" And he continues walking in the L, saying, "My name is Puck, miss, and it's nice to meet you. He was traveling with a group of people like you. When the robbers attacked them, they were performing." The Puck flies over and he sits on the man's shoulder to continue talking, and the man smiles. In black swats him away, telling the Puck not to touch him. Puck tries to yell at the man, but he hears a voice and looks behind him. When he notices the soldiers encircling him, Puck begins to fly away. He says, "Well, I'd better get going now," and a short time later, the man is gone. This concludes Part 1 of Berserk Volume 1.